Okay, there has been this new quote unquote crisis that's apparently new to everyone's attention with respect to the media setup has Trump and essentially the Republicans. Well, they're just saying specifically Trump versus the post office, because the post office, of course, needs an infusion of basically funding, just to be essentially to some degree effective. I mean, this isn't a new phenomenon with respect to the post office, but even though the media is completely acting as if this is just something that came directly from the pandemic, which is just the lazy and most dishonest reporting, and you would think that it's Trump and his postmaster against the post office because he refuses to essentially allow an easy path of funding to go to them, as clearly all these other companies and corporations have been provided. You know, best example I always like to give is the airlines with empty seats. Um, but that's how this has kind of been set up. You know, new phenomenon. Post office was, you know, they're going through the pandemic, losing hemorrhaging money. You know, they can't be as effective. Trump is essentially casting doubt, and he's 100% against the giving them any money. And some people even utilize the term defunding, which is completely delusional, because the finances of the post office have been they were handicapped by actually is a bipartisan thing in 2006, and it was called the Postal Accountability and Enhancement Act. This was introduced in the House of Representatives. Tom Davis, a Republican, another Republican, John McHugh of New York, and Democrats, Henry Waxman of California and Danny Davis of Illinois. This is an overhaul of the United States Postal Service. It reorganized Postal Rate Commission. It reorganized the Postal Rate Commission, compelled the USPS to pay in advance for health and retirement benefits of all its employees for at least 50 years, and stipulated that the price of postage could not increase faster than the rate of inflation. It also mandated the USPS to deliver 6 days of the week. According to Tom Davis, the Bush administration threatened to veto the legislation unless they added the provision regarding funding the employee benefits in advance, with the objective of using that money to reduce the federal deficit. When he signed the bill on December 2006, Bush issued a signing statement that says the government can open mail under emergency conditions, though Wax asserted that the government cannot do this without a search warrant. Good old authoritarian Bush, that's him. We act as if Trump is the only one that's had this mindset. Between 2007 and 2016, the USPS lost $62.4 billion. The Inspector General of the USPS estimated that 54.8 of that was due to pre-funding retirement benefits. What they don't mention is 2006, the post office bought in a surplus of $900 million. Nearly $1 billion surplus if they were just allowed to function regularly without having a crazy stipulation of paying out health and retirement benefits 50 years in advance, while mandated to have to do last mile delivery, often to places that do not create a profit, and also stipulated to basically not even really raise postage amount, the price of the postage amount, to reflect the market. It was a fake issue that was created to essentially handicap the post office, done for by Democrats and Republicans. And now today, the media acts like this never happened. And like this is just something that, because no other business has to do this. This is a silly thing. This is something that's basically, to me, it sounds like a way to make sure you get the benefits of the post office delivering everywhere, where other private companies won't do, because It's just not profitable. But at the same time, you make sure that they don't increase their market share at all. So at the will of, the UPS and the FedEx, hopefully they expand, or they are willing to do additional services in the event it becomes profitable to do so. But I mean, even this is why Amazon uses the post office, because even they don't deliver everywhere. So yes, it is and people have this weird expectation of the post office just do everything, and at the same time, if the postage goes up 5 cents, then for goodness sakes, I feel personally harmed. But it's just he's not defunding the post office, and the Democrats also in another sense, the fake outrage that's coming from the Schumers and Pelosi's of the world, um, and being echoed by actually a lot of people I actually do respect, and and unfortunately echoed by even other media like on the left that has completely just kind of jumped on this and trying to make it seem like everyone's like there were particular good actors in this situation. No, the Democrats and the Republicans did this together. And during the CARES Act, when they had an opportunity to, because at that time it wasn't like it was a lack of understanding that this was going to harm the post office further financially, they could have, instead of literally getting $32 billion for the airline industry, and the crazy part is they wanted, even though we have loans appropriated for them as well, airlines want more grants. They only argue for, the $32 billion additional loans for them, and literally trillions in the other essential corporate slush fund that was in there, the $500 billion. They only leveraged to get possibly $10 billion loan for the post office. Shows the priorities. They didn't care, and quite frankly, they only care now because it may affect the election that they care about more this time than anything. And now they're basically, in to some degree, kind of setting it up to seem like this was just something that came out the blue, and Donald Trump is now, he himself is harming the post office when they've been complicit for decades. They've been 100% complicit, and no one's even offering any new reforms after the election, which tells you everything, which means they just want the post office to essentially help in getting rid of Trump. And after that, they can go over to screwing them over again and acting as if they care for them. Because if the pandemic happens again, this is going to happen again, and they're going to act the same exact way, unless there's new leadership, which there needs to be, because for goodness sakes, they are completely useless and corrupt is all. So hopefully not everyone's going along, but this is the narrative, and it's completely frustrating because it's